Welcome back, guys, to Meg on the Mic. We have a really cool guest here today. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jason TARTICK. Grew up in Buffalo, New York, and now I'm in New York City with Overtime Meg today.
Amazing. Well, we're so excited to have you in here today. I mean, we have so much to delve into, but I think, the best place to start is Buffalo, New York. You're a New York man.
Upstate New York, man.
Upstate
We're different.
New York.
We're like, it's like a little
Yes.
Canadian, we're different, but like.
You give the Canadian vibe
Yeah.
with the hair.
Oh, I do? Is it the hair?
Like if you had a hockey uniform on, I wouldn't even I would literally think you're on the Rangers.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, that was like in college. That was my cover up. Be like, oh yeah, I played hockey in Toronto.
Absolutely.
But no, I played hockey growing up, but just wasn't good enough to go
make
pro.
to the show.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my weak spot is hockey players. But we'll get into that one later. So you grew up in Buffalo, and what was your early life like growing up? Like you were sporty. Were you ever into like media, theater, like anything like that, or were you just growing up like sports? High school, going to school, coming home? Like, did you have any interest in the world out there, aka 2 hours south, New York City?
Interesting. Well, it's a good question because the answer is no. But my growing up situation was interesting. I was always in sports. I was going out 24/7 to like get people to play street hockey or play football. Like I was always going, and I played football, little league, but then played in high school. I played hockey, lacrosse, and soccer. Played soccer in college.
Yeah.
But my brother had no interest in sports. He was the total opposite of me. He was big into like magic and theater and was, the head of every single show. So I always went to those shows to support him. And I would always like at home listen to like Broadway musicals he's listening to, right?
Yeah.
So I got exposed to it through him, but I never had interest. And he moved to New York at 18, and I went off to be like the corporate guy. I was like a corporate banker.
Okay,
so
you were a finance bro?
I was a finance bro.
Yeah, I mean, you also get
still am
finance
a little
bro.
bit. Okay, God. Giving finance bro is like the worst thing ever, but like whatever. It's
okay to get finance bro vibes. So growing up, so you were sporty. Were you like, I'm gonna go to college and then just get a 9-to-5 job? Like, what was your plan for yourself when you were younger? I
always knew I was always entrepreneurial. Like when in high school, like the poker craze was big.
Yeah.
So we me and my buddy created all these poker tournaments, and we're like, all right, how do we like make money off this? So we were always entrepreneurial. But I wasn't growing up in a smaller town. If you can think outside the city, that's a huge, huge win. Because most people grow up, they stay, they don't leave.
They live and die by it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so for me, it was always just one step ahead. Like, okay, just get to college. Until my parents took a big job in Dallas. And so this was the first time they'd ever made a move. And we're like, you can't leave Buffalo. How are you going to leave Buffalo?
Yeah, you're like, Buffalo is my home. I'm
the
tied
place.
to it.
Go Bills. What are we doing? We got chicken wings and great people. And they left. And when I saw what happened in Dallas with their careers and the trajectory and their friends and everything, I was like, wow, there's a huge world out there. And so after that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in the corporate game, and wherever they want me to go, I'm going to go. And so they moved me like 5 or 6 times when I was with the bank.
Wow. Let's go back. So let's go to college. Where did you go to college, and what did you go for?
So I went to school I first went to St. John Fisher in Rochester, transferred out of there, and then I went to SUNY Geneseo.
Okay.
I studied business administration, and I got my MBA at University of Rochester, Simon School in accounting and finance.
Okay. Were you in a frat?
I wasn't, because we didn't have a football team at Geneseo.
Yeah, is it a small school?
Small school, like 5,000 people.
Oh my
but we had so our the athletes or the sports teams were like their own frat, and they kind of like competed with the frats.
Yeah.
So not having a football team, like the soccer team was actually kind of cool.
So you're like, I'm the top of the school here.
We were the top, like I'd say hockey players, and then there was like lacrosse, and us kind of battled a little bit for that. But we never did a frat.
Never in a frat.
It was kind of our own little frat.
You guys were your own. No,
Yeah.
I went to school for like one real year, and then COVID hit, and then I was online for the rest of it. And I didn't even know if I was going to go back at that point. I was just doing homework on my laptop on the plane traveling. I started working when I was like 18 here in overtime. So it's been like 7 years now, which is like crazy.
Grinding.
But I missed out on that college experience a little bit, and I kind of like regret that sometimes when I see big schools like University of Michigan. I'm like, damn, like I would love to go there, but it's still like the trajectory of your life is like the way it's supposed to go, and you fell into a very interesting trajectory. So you started into the finance world. Tell me about like your rise through there.
So I was like at 21, I was the guy that's like, I'm going to be early. I'm going to overexceed. I'm going to do everything I have to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get promoted and like kill it.
Yeah.
And so I was like this like hungry go-getter.
Yeah.
So I kept getting promoted and promoted and promoted. And then I got my MBA, and then they moved me to headquarters. Then they moved me back to New York. Then from New York to Seattle. And then it's kind of like the mental health part of it is I kind of lost myself.
Absolutely.
So I was just like empty suit. I was talking the way they wanted me to talk, acting the way they wanted me to act, dressing the way they wanted to dress. And I had this like break moment where I was at this table. I wrote about it in my first book, and I'm the youngest guy at the room, and there's like 25 people there, and there's 3 big banks pitching for this opportunity, and we just kick it off. And right when we kick it off, I was like, is there a bathroom here? And the banker, the senior guy, was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Wait, like,
and I was like,
are you not allowed to leave the table?
Yeah, well, it was like, it was a pitch. It was like we're presenting to a big group, like.
You're like, I need a minute.
I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah. And they're like, and the CEO's like, yeah, go down
Was it
there.
nerves, or you genuinely I drank too much water?
No, it was definitely too nerves. So I went to the bathroom and I passed out.
No.
In the bathroom. Then I got my shit together and I got back to the table and I got through the meeting. But that night I was like, what is going on?
You're like, why is this overtaking my life?
Yeah. And so then I like went to go see like a psychiatrist. What the fuck's going on?
You're like, this is not the Wolf of Wall Street.
This
is not what I signed up for.
I wasn't doing drugs or anything. Yeah. Like, why am I passing?
You're like, where is my old fashioned? Yeah. Like, no, we're just having coffee and talking about money all day and signing paperwork after paperwork. You're like, it becomes just so repetitive. I can imagine you get so burnt out within like a year.
Well, yeah, you get burnt out, but then also when you are living in the corporate life, just grinding for what they want you to be as opposed to what you want to be, you start to lose yourself, and then you put pressure of everyone else trying to adhere to what they need, and then eventually you're going to crack.
And that's why the finance bro is such an archtype too.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
You literally, like, you fall into it. You get the Equinox membership, and then you're drinking your coffee black, and, gosh forbid you want a gingerbread latte. That's not allowed.
See, I've changed. Now I got oat milk in there. I got gingerbread. I don't give a shit.
He's got it all fancy now. It's funny because, like, as a girl who lives in the city, like, finance bro, it's a dime a dozen. There's so many. And it really is an archetype. And it's kind of like every man falls into like their Barbie Ken archetype. So like Ken is a finance bro, Ken is a hockey player, and they all share a personality. And so you really have to decide, do I just like finance bros? I've like literally, I have so many friends that are in like wealth management and things of that sort. And it does become a cycle of the same person over and over. So I wouldn't necessarily, like, a lot of people say finance bros are like a red flag. But in reality, it's just like, do you even like finance bros? Because if you want to date one, they are pretty much all very similar in their mannerisms and their characteristics. But it's like what you're saying. You fall into like this conveyor belt of just like they're plopping you guys out one by one, and you become that. So how did you fight that conformity and like find your individualism again?
Yeah, well, I think the thing is about like, is a finance bro a red flag? I think it depends like what type of finance bro are you?
Yeah.
So if you go down that funnel, there's all different. There's like the Ivy League hedge fund guy. There's the private equity guy. There's the wealth management
Give me like
people,
the best and worst one.
There's like all different. There's like, you could do a whole diagram on
Yes.
different types of finance bros, where they work, the size of the bank, their education, all this stuff. And you're going to get different personality types.
Yeah.
But in general, to make it, like it depends which area of finance you're working in. But in general, like if you want to continue to succeed and continue to make it, you're going to have to fit into exactly what you said.
Exactly.
Their conveyor belt, you have to fit the mold, and to be able to sustain for a long period of time without cracking, you have to become a certain personality type.
Exactly.
And so as a result of that, that's why that stigma happens.
So when did you what age did you start this? 21, you said?
So I started 21, and then at 29, that's when I was like going through, I was like, I am miserable right now.
So 8 years down the line.
It was not, it was just going on my 9th year.
Ninth year. So nearly a decade of doing this.
Nearly a decade of doing it.
Tell me how you transferred from finance bro, 9 to 5, old fashions after dinner, to
a lot of old fashions.
Reality TV. I know. Why do men like gross drinks?
Well, I was more of a martini. I still am more of a martini guy.
I'm a martini girl.
Martini guy.
Yeah.
And like red wine. But with that, you always had to entertain.
Yeah.
So you'd work all day, and then you'd go out at night. I currently weigh, I'm like 6 foot, 185 right now.
Yeah.
When I was at the bank, I was like 207.
Are you serious?
207. I had gained so much weight.
Liquid calories.
Because and I still worked out like 3-4 times a week.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe 4. But we were drinking and going out every night in that industry.
Yeah, and you're having red meat. You're having
steaks and all that. And
I
look at pictures of myself when I was like 25, 27. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep. All the bread, all the appetizers. You're having so much fried calamari. You don't even know what to do with yourself anymore.
Yeah. And it's like everyone like orders the same way.
Everyone orders the same way.
Get the medium rare, get the big strip of Wagyu, chop it up. You're like, oh,
the fried onions on
it's
top.
The same shit.
Give me the
same
baked
potato.
potato.
Copy paste. All right, I'm done with that.
No, that's
so
crazy.
So how did the show? Did we go to the show? How did we go to reality TV? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So you go from the same conversations every day. You know, you're Jordan Belfort, and you go. Wait, actually, did you have your Jordan Belfort, did you have like a significant other throughout this finance bro part of your life, or did you not even have time to date?
I was always like a relationship guy.
Yeah.
So I dated one girl for 4 years, and we broke up. I had a couple like a year off. Dated another girl for 4.5 years, and that didn't work out. And then had like a year and a half off before like The Bachelor found me. Bachelorette.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so in your 20s, you're just living your life. You're just trying to like find your way. How does a man from Buffalo, New York, get onto a show? So it was The Bachelorette first.
It was The Bachelorette, yeah.
So how does that start? Give me that whole process.
Let me give you that break. First of all, it happens like when I talk to people who went on the show. Casting will find you in a million ways.
Yeah.
I've heard LinkedIn messages. I've heard Instagram. I've heard people are just walking down the street. Casting person's like, you're the right fit. Do you want to be on the show? For me, a buddy and I did this bachelor auction for Gilda's Club.
Okay.
Gilda Radner, comedian, died abruptly of ovarian cancer, so they created this non-for-profit to give back to families that are undergoing cancer treatment.
Yeah.
So they picked 30 guys, all different ages, all different professions, and you have to get your company to sponsor you. So the bank sponsored me to do it. So we do it, we raise money, they do black tie, you bid on people as they come down the aisle for a date.
Yes.
And then you win a date package. Well, 30 guys come out, they all come out to a song, and I'm like, if I'm doing this and there's 3,000 people here, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So I came out to old time rock and roll, and I had a tux on, and I just started stripping. So I was
Are
like,
you serious?
I was taking all my clothes off, I was like jumping out, and I was just like, if we're doing this, let's go.
Well, now we know what your nighttime job is outside of your day job.
I worked it. Well, that and my best buddy, he also came out ripping and roaring.
Yeah.
And so videos from that got sent to ABC, and it was like 8 months later. I don't even live in New York anymore.
Yeah.
I live in Seattle, and my best buddy calls me. He's like, hey, I got the craziest thing to tell you. I'm like, okay, well, that's weird, because I was going to call you, because I just got this weird voicemail I wanted to talk to you about. We both got called that weekend to go cast for it. So went through the process. You go to like regionals. Well, you do like screenings.
Yes.
And then they did regionals in New York. And then they do other stuff. And they bring you down to like the top 50.
Yeah.
Which is like the final cut in LA. You're out there for like 3 days.
Yeah.
You're in a hotel room. You do psych evaluations. You do psych tests. You meet with all the executive producers. I remember there was one, I was in a chair, and there's 30 producers around me, and they're just like drilling you with questions, just a gauge like what your personality type is.
This sounds terrifying. This sounds like
funny.
A Black Mirror episode.
It was great.
Goodness.
I liked it. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
They gave me a bowl, and I had to like pick a question out. And the question was, what's your favorite animal? And I said, lions.
Oh, that's a classic man answer.
Classic, yeah. Finance bro. And they're like, why lions? I go, I'll be honest, this is not a finance bro answer. I was like, Lion King's my favorite movie. I probably know every word to every song.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right. So then they threw a pillow at me. I'm like, sing a song. And so like in front of these 30 people.
Are you serious?
I just got up and I was like, and I did like the whole thing.
Are you joking?
And one head producer, he's like, he had to go to a meeting. He's like, I got to go to a meeting. Keep this going. I'll see you on the show. So
Wait, so I have so many questions. Okay, so how long is this? Wait, give me the year. What year is this?
We're going back in the archives here. This was 2000. This was 2017 casting, but the show filmed in 2018.
Okay, because I know it's either a year or two prior.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
2017 casting, 2018. You are literally like who are you telling this to? Like, are you calling your parents and you're like, hey, I just got asked to be on The Bachelorette. Like, what are you saying to people in your inner circle right now? Are you excited? Are you like, this could be a change to my life? Are you doing it for fun? What was going through your mind when you're like, this could possibly be a next step for me in my life?
I mean, I called them all, and they were all just like, no, you're fucking, like, my mom was like, no, you're not. You're not going on.
Is your mom
show.
a fan of the show?
She's a huge fan of the show. She's got me, my brother, and my dad, and she's like, this is my territory. You guys do all your stuff. Stay away from my show.
She's like, do not get in my daytime TV. She's
Stay
like, do
away
not.
from it. Don't even she's got her little groups, and they do bachelor pools and stuff, so she's a huge fan of the show. So she's like, you're not doing that. Like, and then, like, you know, like, then my dad would sit down. He's like,
she doesn't want to bet against her own son.
Yeah. She was like, he's definitely not going to go for it. But my dad was like, dude, you got you're killing it with work and you got your MBA, like reality TV. What are you doing?
Yeah, because a lot of people have like a bad taste in their mouth of reality TV.
Oh, it's just like you're in corporate banking, you get your MBA, you're hustling, you're grinding, you're going to go on reality TV?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So your family's a little more traditional in the sense of like, well, your mom, she's a fan of it, but your father was a little more traditional in the sense of like you just do not want to go this route. Is it not going to last? You know, there's a lot of questions up in the air of it. And also, did you have any doubts yourself when you were going into this process?
No, I was just like everyone in my circle.
Yeah.
Everyone told me not to go.
Really?
But my whole life had been listening to what everyone tells me to do. Mm-hmm. My boss, my parents, get my MBA. It's always been checking the box. Be the captain of the team. Get good grades. Don't get in trouble. I've done it my whole life to create safety for a lot of people around me and myself. Yes. And so I was like, I'm doing it. Like when I'm a Buffalo kid that's in banking, and I got ABC that wants me to like go on a show, of course I'm going.
Yes.
Like, why would I not go?
Absolutely.
And then I thought, like, I didn't really care about, I was like, who knows what will happen? Mm-hmm. I remember a producer, because at the beginning I was worried about losing my job. So I said to the producer, I was like, how does this, like, you know, if everyone talks about editing in reality TV and they give it shit, like, how does it work? Like, am I in trouble?
A little bit.
But he said something, I've been screwed on edits before. I was never with The Bachelor, ever. Mm-hmm. But he said something that was great. He said, if you're an asshole, it's really, really easy for me to make you look like a big asshole.
Yeah.
And if you're a nice guy, it is really, really easy for me to make you look like a really nice guy. Mm-hmm. But it is hard for me to make an asshole look like a nice guy, and a nice guy look like an asshole.
Yes.
And we already have enough work here, and we don't want to do more.
Exactly.
And I found that to be pretty true when I saw people's edits. Yeah. So I was a little worried about the edit, and I went for, back to your question, no one today, no one in 2025 goes on reality TV for anything other than opportunity, period.
Absolutely.
Whatever, there could be 100 different things under the word opportunity. Mm-hmm. It might mean something different to you and me, but anyone who says they're not is lying.
Yeah. Oh,
period,
absolutely.
End of story. 2018, I didn't really even like use Instagram. I didn't really know.
That's the thing. It was a little bit before like the modern influencer era.
Oh, hell yeah. It was definitely before. But I was just like, let's see what happens.
Exactly.
I was like, if something comes from it, sure, let's do it. If I fall in love with a girl, that's cool too. If I end up like getting another opportunity, I don't know, we'll see what happens. I was just like, let's roll the dice.
Yeah, let's roll the dice.
But I didn't go on being like, I am going to find my wife. This is it. This is all these dating issues. This is my answer. I was just like, let's see what happens.
Dating issues. I'm going to assume you did not have problems in the dating department. I'm going to assume, because I've been to Buffalo, the dating pool in Buffalo is like your mother's family, friends, cousin's daughter, and then like, you know, three of your buddies already have had a crush on her growing up. So like you go from the small dating pool to a massive dating pool, and it's actually just one woman, and the entire world is watching you. So you're going on, what did you want to bring to the table? Like, what character were you bringing onto The Bachelorette? Were you like the villain, the good guy, the peacemaker? What were you? The guy that like didn't even know what was going on half the time? Because actually, I was in high school during this season. Like I actually didn't watch it. I was like, I want to hear it from you. So I'm gonna watch it after I meet you. But before I was like, I don't want my own.
Don't even go back.
I don't want a fake impression. I want the real impression.
You'll fall asleep.
So what kind of character were you coming on to be?
I was like, I was just like, I'm going to be myself and see what happens.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I was like, I'm not going to get overly produced. Like, you know, people, if you ever see the limo entrances, people come out of the limo to make an impression. They'll do crazy shit. I was like, I'm not doing anything crazy. So the whole time I was like, I'm just going to be me. And I'll tell you this, when I walked in the mansion, each person that goes on that show is like a little, it's like, especially for Bachelorette, they're like the alpha, or like they're like the kind of the person in their group, if that makes sense, right?
There's cliques.
So there's cliques, but then they go, and so they're small little towns. So like in Buffalo, like I got my group, and maybe let's say I'm the like leader of my group or whatever. And then there's this guy from Minnesota, and he's the leader of his group from Minneapolis. Well, now you put them all in a mansion. Yeah. And what you have to do quickly is figure out like what your thing is, because everyone walks in and everyone's gonna have imposter syndrome to some extent.
Absolutely.
Because like I walk in, first of all, I look up, everyone's like 6'5". I'm like, these guys are fucking monsters. Yeah. Then I start talking to them, and this dude played in the NFL. This guy played, he was a Harlem Globetrotter. This guy MLB, MLS. Then I talked to one dude who's just like, you know,
He's just happy to be there.
I don't know. He's a good-looking guy. I just started talking to him. I'm like, so what's your deal? And he responds. He's like, well, I've been on 4 magazine covers. I'm a model. I'm like, Jesus.
But like that's their thing.
That's their thing.
So you're like, what's my thing? You're like, well, what is my thing?
Buffalo banker, small town banker. That's cool. No, it's not.
You just gotta brush the hair back and be like Jordan Belfort, obviously. Yeah.
Then I meet this other. I have to love telling this story because I finally get through this run. I meet this guy. He's so nice. He's sweet. He's kind. He's like, I'm like, this is a really good guy. And I was like, what do you do, man? What's your story? He's like, oh, I was the 4th employee and I helped found Venmo. I'm like, this is a fucking joke.
You're like, the stakes are really tough here.
Then the last guy was he's 6'4", Ken Barbie doll looking guy, stud. Most people know him now. And I talked to him. He's like, I played in the NFL. I dated this person. And then 2 hours later, we start talking, and he's a virgin. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Now that was Colton Underwood. Who ended up being the Bachelor. So you walk in the mansion, you're just like, what am I? What am I? But I will say, you quickly learn with time that there is, no matter what room you're in, no matter who it is, there's something that's special about you that other people don't have.
Exactly.
And so I learned quickly that my ability to stay grounded with all the mayhem and still be able to build relationships with everyone in the room while building a relationship with her and kind of using my communication and engagement style was going to be my differentiator.
There you go.
Yeah.
And in reality, comparison is the thief of joy. And when you walk in, especially in New York City, I've been in New York City for years now. And even in university, you walk into a room and there's the 6 foot tall, there's the models, there's the Nepo babies, my daddy owns this, my mom designs that. It's the same idea, but everyone walks into a room with something that everyone looks over. Everyone looks over and everyone has something that is individual to you. So I like that you called that out because I can only imagine how nerve-wracking that is, but it is true. You walked in, they probably were like, damn, good hair, good style. I gotta go back. I gotta go back and see this, honestly, because I need to see the vibes.
If you think I had a lot of hair gel now, you should have seen it then. It was glued on. I was down hard. I got chirped a lot for that.
Do you even watch, would you watch it now, or do you cringe a little when you watch it?
I'll tell you this much. My ex-girlfriend, she did a funny little thing where she had never watched it, and she recorded herself watching it, and that was the first time I'd seen it in I don't know, 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I was cringing at myself the whole time.
The things you say, the outfits.
Well, anything. It's hard to watch yourself back in anything you do.
Yes.
Which is why so many people have issues doing things.
Yeah.
Because they're so worried about what everyone else is going to say.
Well, you're your own hardest critic, obviously.
Yeah. So I actually heard this about Gen Zs recently, that when you put in, if I put up a phone, immediately right now, I take a phone and record my dad. I'm like, all right, Dad, say happy birthday.
Yes.
My dad's going to be, hang on, he's going to freak out.
They need a moment, yes.
Do millennials be like, 1 second, let me just,
pause.
And then you do it to a Gen Z now, and there's no, happy birthday, Steve, what's going on, man? Nice to meet you, boom.
Absolutely.
So it's the comfort that we're seeing each generation get in front of a camera.
It's crazy.
It's significant, but trying to never be in front of a camera, you're in finance, and then you have to connect with someone, and then you have to start kissing that someone while all these producers are watching.
Oh my gosh, kissing on camera.
That was different.
I could never kiss on camera. I can't even look at photos of my side angle sometimes. So wait, how does it get with all these cameras around you 24/7? Are you guys even getting sleep? Are you guys getting fed? Are you getting private time? How much downtime are you getting by yourself behind the scenes?
They do a really good job of, in my opinion, taking care of you with anything you want food wise, or if you want to work out, if you want to do stuff, they're really good about trying to accommodate.
Yeah.
But you have no phone, you have no TV, you have no internet, you have no music.
Are you joking?
And they have huge crews and unions, so they have to be able to monitor your sleep schedule. Sleep's kind of tight. It's I don't think it's by design. I really don't think it's let's sleep deprive all of them.
Yeah.
I think it's by the schedule that they have to adhere to. But they control the lightings in your room. It's all on a schedule. So it becomes a game of Survivor a little bit.
A little bit.
Because you have to, in your head, you're thinking, okay, how am I going to make a big impression with her?
Yes.
How am I going to still stay grounded here? And meanwhile, you're seeing all this stuff, the producers grabbing this guy, and these guys are in a fight, and this girl's giving him all the attention. This guy's bragging about this.
They have to literally orchestrate all of you guys.
It's kind of a game of Survivor.
So what was the worst part of it
real
then?
Quick, though, that is why there's so many people from the Bachelor franchise that go on to other shows. Not everybody, but I'd say 90%, and they crush those shows.
Yeah.
It could be like Traders. It could be Dance with Stars.
Yeah.
It could be whatever it is. Like Hannah Brown's a great example.
Yes.
There's nothing Hannah Brown can't win.
Yeah.
She's one of the best bachelorettes
Just
ever exist.
great at everything.
She went on the Navy SEALs. What's it called? There's like a Navy SEAL show on Fox.
Yes.
She went on. She won that. She won Dance with the Stars.
Just
the
like
people on the
those
Bachelor
all-around people. They
kill it.
really do a good job at picking. Lately, I feel like, obviously, like I know the lore of it is that the Bachelor and the Bachelorette used to, I think, pick a little more like the average everyday human, you know, from their hometown, pluck them out. Here they are, normal job, there you go. But like conventionally just very everyday person. And now it's like, let us find extraordinary people. There is something so specific of this person, which I kind of like how they did with the last Bachelor, with Joey. He was kind of just like a normal
Joey's is
dude.
like I met
good
Joey
guy, but
Dolphin
just,
in Nashville
yeah.
before he went on the show. And then him and I became friendly, and he hit me up. He's like, hey, there's someone from casting reached out. And so like I kind of like helped with that process. So I got to know him before that. Him and I are good buddies. He's so humble, so kind, very sweet guy.
Yes.
But like you're right. I think they had a moment where they were starting to put like Tyler Cameron.
Yes.
And then I think
stars or soon to be stars.
He was a model.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like this, like, I mean, look at him.
Ken.
Yeah, he's a stud. And I think when you put those people on, sometimes they can get like so big that you don't become bigger than the show, but it becomes hard for them to maintain alumni, right? So if they want Tyler to go do Bachelor in Paradise or become the next Bachelor,
it's
because
hard.
He's such a specimen,
Yeah.
and then he goes on this platform and becomes so big, it's hard to then like retain alumni from a business perspective.
Well, now it has longevity.
Yeah.
Like, and you do it as well, is that you've built a platform beyond. It used to be a joke that with reality stars, it was your 15 minutes of fame and you were up. You're done, next season, goodbye, forget about you.
Yeah.
My sister's going to hate that I bring this up. My sister went on a reality show.
What show was it?
It was back in like 2008.
Okay.
I literally like barely remember it, but it was called America's Prom Queen. It was a similar audition. It was on ABC Family. Similar audition process to yours. They had like a casting call in Boston, and my sister and her friend went. She got called. She did the regionals, and she got picked. There was 10 girls picked in the whole country.
Okay.
And they went on, and it literally was like you were famous for like 15 minutes or 15 days maybe in like your hometown. Maybe like a few people watched it, maybe a few moms watched it, and then like you move on with your lives. Like people in the early 2000s literally could go on reality TV and then go live normal lives after. Like there's so many shows like MTV, ABC Family. Like my sister, she lives a completely normal life now. Like she didn't take anything with it, but I think back then it was so much harder because you couldn't really build yourself on your own after.
Correct.
And now you can build yourself, and like you with your platform, you have like 1 million followers on Instagram, and it's crazy because the longevity that comes out of it now, you really can make your own star. And you've done a lot of things after. I know I'm going to bounce around a little bit. I want to definitely hear a lot about your Bachelorette experience, but like what you've created afterwards, like you've gotten a lot of opportunities after, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to make it like yourself, but now you have a platform to do it. So you go on the show gives you a platform, and it's like, what are you going to do with it? Yeah. And I'd say 9 out of 10 people don't take it seriously, and then they enjoy like the quick 15 minutes of like you're on a red carpet, you have all this relevancy, they party their ass off, they they're doing their thing.
You get some famous people sliding your DMs.
Yeah, they're doing their thing, and then they're not focused at all. And I think you have to have a balance of like enjoy the moment, but also like you were just given a really good opportunity. Yeah. What are you going to make of it?
Absolutely.
And so with me, what happened was, you know, the story I always tell is I get off the show and I've seen like every industry and their financials, and all of a sudden an agent comes to me with a weighted blanket deal. This is 2018, and it was somewhere. I always get the number. I was either 15 or 20 grand, and she's like, "All right, you got to take a picture with this. You got to post it, and you got to do these tags." And I didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, "Fuck, 20
like
grand.
still
like,
2018 is like still pretty early in the influencer game.
Yeah, and for a photo though, I was like, "Give me that blanket." And I'm like a dumbass. I have no shirt on. But I did that. I was like, "Wait a second, how much do I have to pay you?" And I gave her a percentage. I'm like, "These margins are insane."
Yep.
And then I started to see, I'm like, wait, okay, so they want the report of the analytics. Okay, I'm like, okay, there's a business here. And so I started to get more interested in that business side of it.
Yes.
And so I started an agency, a talent management company in 2020.
Nice.
And so we help a lot of different unscripted. Now we're working with big athletes and big celebrities through their agents. Or we're like a hybrid between talent management and agency. and started that in 2020, and now we have like 10 employees, and that's blowing up.
That's
but then
amazing.
You have to find your niche. So I found my niche going back to what I know, which is like career management, personal finance, and I published 2 books, and then we did a book tour for both of those and sold those out. And I started a podcast called Trading Secrets, which is taking all the things in all these different industries and figuring out, like, I'm always curious what people make.
Yeah.
And like, where do they lose money and make money? So like athletes, like A-Rod and Gronk, like, what'd you get paid on that deal?
Oh, exactly.
Or what'd you do with that money? Or how much did you lose on that investment? And so podcast, got the agency, different investments, still doing creator stuff myself, published a couple books, and just kind of rolling with it. Here we are. That was 2018. It's 2025.
Wait, so can you give me the 2 names of your books? And then also, it's kind of funny because we're literally going on Trading Secrets after this.
We are. Let's go.
We're going to take an Uber and we're going to go film after Meg on the mic. Oh my, wait, I have so many questions.
We're getting
First
you
of all,
on the mic. Are you going to go on The Bachelorette?
I literally,
we'll find out.
That'd be so fun. I would love that. But I would want to pick the entire dating pool. I would need like half of them to be Canadian. I would need like
you'd have
half of them to be
do
Italian.
you have a tendency of dating Canadians?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Or no, they
Uh-oh, producers are laughing.
not
Is that
not
like
Canadian.
DL?
I think
Hockey players?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a type, and
Got it.
It's not my fault it goes that way, but it's just that's the people who slide in my DMs, and it's just the ones that I'm like, all right, let's go on a date.
Yeah, but why you take it, like, I feel like you should be not just responding to the people that are in your DMs, you should go get what you want.
Oh, absolutely. Like meeting out in the wild.
Yeah, well, no, I don't know. It's the, like, your type, you're saying your type is the people that slide in your DMs.
Essentially.
But isn't your type what you're interested in, not what people come to you for?
I don't even think I have a type. I think it's just, I think I've curated my type to be a certain archetype, which is the Canadian hockey man, because that's what I'm so used to. See, you pick what you like, and that personality is like normally kind of what I go for. However, lately, I'm 25 now. Like, I'm getting older. You know, you got to start thinking about life partners.
Older? You're 25.
Yeah.
You're not older.
The 25, it hit like 2 months ago, and I was like, this is where I have to get serious with my dating. I was like, I actually have to find what I need, husband material. But I'm going to bounce around like for a little bit. Wild. It's just weird because you go from like having so much fun in like your single life, and then like, obviously, like, I do social media. Like, dating out in the wild is not as simple because, like, if someone...
What is defined wild?
Like, out at a restaurant, out at a bar, you meet someone at an event. So it's just, like... Traditional, just meeting someone naturally through a friend. I think it's hard when you're, like, on social media and you genuinely want to find that human connection because a lot of people have this notion about you already. They have the preconceived notion. They have an idea of who you already are. So it's really hard to actually build, I think, this deeper level of human connection because you guys always have this overlying arch of, okay, this is Overtime Megan. Okay, this is what this guy does. This guy's a YouTuber. This guy's an athlete. So I think it's really hard nowadays to actually get down and dirty with the idea of a relationship. So we're going to get into some relationship questions actually with you.
Can I ask one? I know it's your podcast, but can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Okay, dating in the in the wild, right? Yeah. So where's so you go to a bar. You meet a guy. You're like, this guy's a good-looking dude. He said, we're talking. We're having a good time. What's hard about that? Do you get worried that other people are going to, like, take a picture? Do you get worried that he has a preconceived notion of who you are? Like, what's the actual worry, though?
It's the worry that he has a preconceived notion and doesn't actually care to, like, get to know me.
Oh, he just wants to be like, I'm going to hook up with Overtime Meg.
Yeah, because, like, that's how, like, most, like, men are just kind of, like, I don't know. In New York City, it's, like, I feel like the mental maturity has gone down over the years a little bit. You could date someone who's 30 nowadays and still have to feel like you're dealing with like a 21-year-old in a way. So I
don't think age has anything to do with maturity.
Really?
Like I've met 22-year-olds that are more mature than 50-year-olds, and I've met 45-year-olds who are less mature than 22-year-olds.
Yeah.
I think like it's like
age is just a number.
It just does. It dictates experience because you've lived longer, but it doesn't dictate the development of true maturity and like connection. No way.
But wait, I'm gonna circle back because when you date with like a social platform, so after the show, how was like, going back to like life and dating and talking to people? You obviously started to get treated a little differently. You know, people started recognizing you. So when did that really incline?
There was one episode that was like my buddies joke around, like, oh, it was your breakout episode. And it was an episode where 4 of my friends surprised me on a date. So like she brought me a date, we go to a brewery, and like my 4 best buddies are there. And I like lost it. I was like, oh my God.
That's why they called it the breakout episode, because they were in it.
That was the breakout episode. And I remember it was like shortly after that, I went to get coffee with my cousin, and there were all these there's like all this stuff, like who Jason's dating, da 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 da.
Oh, because it was a female cousin?
It was my cousin.
Oh,
yeah.
I know. It's ridiculous.
So, that was when I was like, oh, wow, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? And things changed a little bit after that.
Yeah.
And then you go through this whole learning curve with anybody, especially now, I feel like they should do a class on this, but there's noise. There's always noise. There's going to be good noise. There's going to be bad noise. There's going to be all the noise. And you have to quickly like develop thick skin.
Yeah.
And then you have to quickly understand the psychology of people that are actually trying to like take you down or chirp you. And and then you have to be able to continue to proceed. And this is something that has been an issue with anybody and any industry for hundreds of years. It's just worrying too much about what people think. The fear of what people think, so not doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
But now it's so magnified. And what's crazy with social media is like the impact this will have on kids in school because of like just bullying, and like that's an element that we never had.
Yeah.
So the ability for even kids to adults and to even older generations to be able to understand, like, forget about what people say, find yourself and ignore the noise and just keep pushing forward is a big one.
I think it's just like the idea of viral things. So it's like the idea of like millions of people seeing it. It's a feeling of being cornered in a room, which is like the hard feeling to deal with. And a lot of people don't know how to actually block the barrier between the millions of views and eyes on you. They feel it and they don't realize like it's just on your phone. Like you can literally put your phone down and it doesn't even exist anymore.
That's true.
Like unless somebody's right in front of you being like, you're the worst contestant on the show. Oh my gosh, like I'm obsessed with you. Like unless they're literally right in front of you, it is pretty easy to block it off. But some people I think get so enthralled in it. So like what has been your biggest takeaway from The Bachelorette?
Biggest takeaway is I remember sitting in an interview and it was like cameras like this. Producer was asking me all this stuff about my life. And then she just stopped. She goes, shut it down. I was like, what'd I say wrong? And she said, you said nothing wrong. All you say is things that are perfect. You have your exes are great. Your life is great. Mom and dad are great. I got nothing here. And I sat in that room for like 10 minutes and I was like, fuck. I guess she's right. Like I'm avoiding a little bit with the truth here. Like I'm not speaking to some of my vulnerabilities. And so my biggest takeaway was like, you got it in life, you got to connect your head and your heart. And when you do, and you could speak to those vulnerabilities, you're actually going to really connect, empower, and relate to others.
Exactly.
And we live, I don't know, at least I did. I lived such a life of like avoiding emotion and avoiding like talking about hard things because I was like, I'll just run from it.
Exactly.
And that's such a piss poor way to live. Like it's such a bad, there's no ability to grow. There's no ability to connect. And so like weirdly enough, as a producer on The Bachelor, that like really helped me like connect things in that way, which is kind of crazy.
That's amazing because men have a hard time being vulnerable because the fear of getting hurt and the fear of emotions not being reciprocated, it's a big one for I feel like a lot of men to like get in tune with. So the fact that you recognize that is amazing.
Fear of judgment.
Fear of judgment is big,
right?
But when you realize that, like, it's such a refreshing thing for like an audience of yours to be listening to you and you getting vulnerable, you getting real about your feelings, and someone being like, "Wait, like I felt that way before too." And that's like the beauty of what this is and what media does is that you do connect with people and make them just feel a little more human about their everyday feelings and their lives. And when they see you on TV, you look so perfect, but when you get down to the nitty gritty, you really can open yourself up to so many new audiences.
For sure.
Maybe we should get into some some good questions, some good dating questions.
Let's do it.
I saw on your TikTok, or I think it was maybe your Instagram or your TikTok, your parents have been married for 40 years, and like same here. I love it too. I see it. I see what a good relationship is. Do you still think that kind of love is possible in modern day?
I think it's way harder. I think it's possible, but it's way harder.
Way harder.
Yeah, I mean, just there's so much visibility into so many things.
Yeah.
And I think the ability to fight has been just thrown away. So it's possible. It's what I would want.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a lot more work, I think.
A lot more work.
Yeah.
So are you single right now?
Yeah.
What is your biggest green flag in a woman? What do you look for most?
That's a good one. Their circle. Like I want to know a little bit more about their circle. Really? I think you could have like the most perfect person or what you think is the most perfect person, but if like the roots are unhealthy, that's a big one.
They need a solid foundation.
Yeah.
Is that family?
No,
is
it's
that
not,
friends?
They don't need a solid foundation. You just have to understand like what's happened in their foundation and then like where they are with it today and how they managed it to like create healthy situations. No one has perfect situations, right? My
Yes.
mom's dad, he got divorced 3 times,
Yeah.
right? Like, so, but it's like, how, what did my mom say to my dad? She said, this is what happened with my father, and what I want in someone is someone under all circumstances I can trust you.
Yes.
And that's my dad. Like, so, like, I think that's a situation, like, that's part of her foundation. It's not ideal, but it's also like helped her dictate like what she'll surround herself with moving forward. So I think circle's a big one.
Circle's a big one. So
trust and loyalty, like those are, you know what I mean?
Trust and loyalty. When you say circle, is this involving like, I guess is the way of saying it is like baggage, like
no,
I think having
baggage is okay,
like,
but I think you got to pay very close attention to like, what are the things that are most important to them?
Yeah.
Their friend group.
Yes.
What's
the friends
the
are always a big
with their family. Just
tell.
like, how have they built the foundation of their life?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And what does it mean to them?
Their morals and their values, and where does their character come from is a big one.
Their integrity. Yeah, I think that's big.
Do you have a big red flag in girls that you don't like?
Big red flag. Let's see. I'm sure I could think of several.
Ladies, listen in and make some changes after this one.
I think probably because of reality TV and social media, I hate when people are constantly judging and criticizing others that aren't at the table.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to do, and everybody talks shit.
Everyone.
Everybody talks shit, and majority of the time they talk shit because that person has something that they want, or they resent something about themselves that they see in that person.
Yep.
And so when I'm at a table and someone is just constantly judging or talking shit about someone else, I'm like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen when I leave this table?
Exactly.
What's going to happen if something doesn't work out with us?
Yeah.
And, that's huge. So like, I pay very close attention to how people talk about other people.
Exactly.
And this is the easiest one too, is like, if I'm going on a date, how is that person treating everyone? And when I say that, I mean, it's like the Uber driver, the waitress, the host, like how are they acting? How are they speaking?
Yes.
That's a big one.
Very important.
Big one.
I think honestly with that, it's like, you got to get yourself like somebody that has, I feel like when you've been given everything in life, you either go the route of being super grateful and super appreciative and super humble, or you go down the route of like, everyone serves me. So I think like finding someone who has those roots and just being so humble and grateful, like I'm the same way. Like if you treat people like they're disposable, like you're telling your assistant to go do this, you're calling the driver and telling him to park there and not asking nicely, like those things all raise red flags. And I've seen it before where I'm just like how would you talk to our kids? How would you talk to like your mother-in-law, my mother? How would you talk to certain people in my life? So like, oh my God, those things are such big red flags. Mine is somebody that like doesn't even, this is something so simple. Like if you are not bettering yourself every day, like in terms of like, if you're not reading, if you're not educating yourself, if you're not making yourself more worldly and cultured at least every single day in some way, shape or form, and you're not growing every day as a human, that's my biggest red flag. Like if you think you've made it already, if you're like, okay, I have money, I have everything else, I'm satisfied, I have my apartment, my house, I have all my friends, I'm good. Like where do you expect to go in life from there? Like you don't expect to continue learning and growing at the different levels and stages like that. That scares me.
That connects to this one, which is confidence is sexy. Arrogance is just like, I can't deal with arrogance.
Yes.
Because no matter who it is, no matter if you're a professional athlete or whatever, you may be a big business person or finance or whatever, like there is always bigger, there's faster, there's stronger, there's better looking. There's always going to be someone like
the paradox of choice.
Always.
Yep.
So it's like anyone that can't like humble themselves and like who they are a little bit, be appreciative, be confident, but like that arrogant side, that's like, I'm like, not a big,
so bad. We love a genuine human.
Yeah, it's tough to find these days.
So it's very tough.
You know?
Are your 30s better than your 20s?
Way better.
Everyone says it. It makes me excited.
207-pound banker crushing old fashions all day, passing out in conference rooms. 30s are way better. It's not even like, I mean, that's my experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I hope every decade gets better. Like you said, like you go through all these different experiences and you either learn and grow from them and become better, or you fall apart and become a worse version of yourself.
Yep.
But ideally, like over the macro, like the long period of time, every year should be better than last year.
Exactly.
Even events are going to happen, uncontrollable things. Like there's going to be loss, there's going to be grieving, there's going to be all these things. But like the idea is like you're putting yourself in a position because you learned from yesterday that tomorrow is better.
Exactly.
So like
Constantly growing. Constantly growing.
Like 2024, I think about it. I said this on my Instagram the other day. You know, you see the movies when people die and like the life flashes in front of them?
Yes.
Like the life is going to flash in front of me in 2024. It's going to stop for like 10 minutes because it was like 10 years in one.
Yes.
But like, I'm so grateful for that year. And I learned so much. I had experiences I never imagined.
Exactly.
And like, that's life. That's the beauty of life.
Everyone says you get more confident in your 30s. And I'm like, heck,
you just care less.
Yeah.
You're just like, even like dating, you're like, all right, what is the point of like trying to over impress and like do all these things? Those are great. Like you got to do things that matter. But like the filter, you just like filter out to see if it's going to work or not.
Yeah.
You're not trying to
right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, why you don't want to waste any more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
I believe in feelings at first sight.
That's a good one.
I don't think you could like fall in love at first sight, but you could see someone across the room and be like, whoa, like you see their energy, their smile, their eyes, everything, and you're just like, whoa.
You're like, this is my
That's
person.
like feeling. Or you're just like, it stops you in your tracks. You're like, who is that person? I need to go talk to that person.
Yes.
But I don't know if that's like, I don't think you can actually fall in love by seeing someone.
Not fall in love, but I understand what you mean. I think the fall in love at first sight trope is like very much old age, where you'd see like Nancy walking out of church back in like 1950 and you were like, that's going to be my wife.
Yeah.
But now it's more like, I think, first date love. I think like people after first dates now get like attached and they're like, this person's perfect. They check all the boxes. Have you ever had that moment on a first date where you're like, this person's great?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but like I'm gonna date and like marry this person. Like, do you guys have those feelings?
100%.
Really?
Well, I think there's guys that like in my friend group, there's guys that fall like so hard so quick.
Yeah.
And then there's guys that don't. I'm one that does. I typically do. Yeah, my last relationship, like after the first date, I was like, every box is checked.
Yes.
But yeah, but that's not like every date you go on. There's like 10 dates you go on that like no boxes are checked.
You just got to get through it at that
You're just
point.
like, but like, I think so. But yeah, I think feelings at first sight.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Have you ever had a bad first date?
Yeah, I've had plenty of bad first dates.
I mean, like, as a single man in the dating scene, like, what, give me, like, your best first date experience, and then give me, like, your worst first date. Like, just give me, like, what really categorizes it as a bad and good first date? Obviously, okay, we got the good. The good is, like, probably, like, some great banter, maybe some, like, relatable things in your lives and your childhood, but, like, what constitutes a bad date?
Okay, best first date is when you don't even know what's happening in the restaurant. You're not even paying attention to the food. You don't even know what you're drinking because you're just so locked in on the conversation. You're just like, you're just going back and forth, etc.
Yeah.
I think a really bad first date is when you're just like, there is no energy in the conversation. Mm-hmm. There is no back and forth.
No back and
forth. It's just one way. There is no listening, receiving, and sending. Mm-hmm. And you can't like laugh at yourself. Like I think in life you gotta be able to laugh at yourself and with someone. And if you can't like send a little joke and whatever, and it's like so stiff.
I hate that.
Yeah, and it's like I think when you go on a date and like you're just like in a box, like we have to go here, we have to do this, I have to be gone right now, like, and I can't laugh. It's like
you feel like you're back in the finance world. You're getting PTSD.
Yeah, I'm like, just bring the guard down.
Yes.
There's no pressure here.
I think a lot of girls like feel the nerve, like the feeling to be perfect when they're on a first date sometimes. But I think like first dates are stressful no matter what. Like you are literally, it feels like a business interview sometimes. But then I'm like, if it feels like a business interview, I've had dates like that, then it's not the right one. Like if you don't feel comfortable, like I've known this person for at least a year on the first sit down, then like I just know it's not the person for me. You gotta have like warmth. And if you're just giving me cold, stone walling me, it's not it. And I've definitely had dates where I'm just like, this literally feels like I'm going to an interview for a job at a bank right now, and I'm going to be a teller, and I'm going to work 9 to 5 and check out and literally never see this person
That's
again.
a good one. It's like when you're on a date and they're treating it like an interview.
It's awful.
It's like, okay, so tell me what your job is, and where did you go to school, and what was your GPA? And it's like, slow down here. You want my resume? Or we like talk like, you know,
like no human characteristic talk. It's just purely
I do not want
facts.
to. I don't want a job interview right now.
That's my biggest red flag is if you guys are saying too many facts on a date and not too many like opinions on things and like actual personal feelings on anything in life, then like, what are you doing? I don't care. Just tell me your favorite color, and then tell me like maybe some trauma from your childhood. I don't care what it is. Just give me all the things.
I also
give me your
think
opinions.
We'll find on a date, you got to find one hot take you disagree on, and then see how you talk through that.
Yes.
That's like a good thing to do on a first date.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Do you have a good topic you've debated on a date before?
Oh, I mean, if you step into like, if you want to step into anything political, you can take like one item, just be okay, what's your take on that?
Yeah.
Or on like religion's a big one.
Yeah.
Right? Like what's your take on religion or this or that? I mean, there's like, just look at literally just before your date, go Google like what's trending in the news today.
Yes.
Have an opinion on it. Be like, what do you think?
And then
you saw Luigi. What do you think?
You're giving these girls the pedestal, and they're gonna come back at you. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's so funny. Okay, so give me, we talk dating, we talk the Bachelorette. Wait, one more question, Dancing with the Stars, and then I'm gonna ask you the rest of it. Who would be your dream Dancing with the Stars partner? I saw you went recently.
Yeah, I went to support Joey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I've supported 2 people on that show as a cheerleader, and both of them have won. So, like, if anyone's going on and they need a support system, I'm good luck. I don't think I'll be going on anytime soon. But if that happened, I think Danny and Jenna are, like, geniuses as it relates to, like, the art of dance. Emma's, like, just badass. Like, she would be fun. Whitney Carlson's awesome. I mean, they're all, like, Riley, Britt, all of them are, like, what's interesting now is because the show's blowing up the way it is, I have a feeling that the dancers are slowly becoming larger stars than some of the stars they have on.
Absolutely.
And it's like it's making this transition. And we, in my management company, we work with some of them, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're just what they can do is unbelievable. So, I mean, honestly,
would you ever go on it?
Would I go on?
Yeah, I know you're a good luck charm in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, of course I would go on, but I don't think I'm on their foresight anytime soon. But hey, if I am, I would go.
Okay, guys, let's get him on. Did Joey teach you any moves by any chance?
I want to go on a like some type of competition show.
Yeah.
Like if I were to go on a show, if I were to do anything, like any type of competition.
What would it be? Like I'd go on Jeopardy, 100%.
I would go on like Big Brother. I'd go on Survivor. I would go on
You look
Traders.
like you could
I'd
survive
go on the Challenge.
woods.
Like any of those. Like what's that?
You look like you could survive in the woods.
You're chirping me hard right now. Wow.
I feel like he would start a fire and just like hand on hips, be like, yeah. That's how you do it.
Take a little grease from the hair and
No,
throw it in there.
It's a compliment.
Oh, I thought you were giving me a backhanded, like you would get your ass kicked.
No, in a good way. Can you swim? If you can swim, you're good to go.
See, that's why I want to do it. I'm going to prove people like you wrong.
Okay, so we'll go. Well, I think we should all. I'm going to apply for it. I'd go on the Survivor.
I think you should go on The Bachelor.
You think so?
Yeah, give it a go.
Wait, if I'm going The Bachelor, then I'm competing for one man.
You gotta compete for one man. Yeah.
Oh God.
And then you could become the Bachelorette.
No, you know what? I would go on as the comedic relief. I don't know if I would definitely not go on as the one being like, oh yeah, he's in love with her. But I would want to go on just to be like the comedian character.
And that's why you'd be the Bachelorette, because that's what would make a great Bachelorette.
Oh, I'd have a great time. Bachelorette, you guys need a good
casting
sponsor.
director. Lock her up.
25. I have a lot of PR nightmares in my past, but I'm really interesting, I promise. So it'd be
maybe you
good.
could bring some of your past exes on too.
I would love to bring my
really
past
like
exes.
That show.
I would love to get my ex on
Wait
the show.
a second. You know what you could do? You could make your own Bachelorette series with this show.
I absolutely could. Wait, me and Overtime, we've talked about it before. We could get like 10 men, and we would get them all together, and we'd do like a speed dating round. It'd be great.
That would be funny.
Find the next
And then you
husband.
talk about all the things you didn't like or liked on the date.
Exactly.
Wow.
They have a bunch of shows like that where you press the button. Well,
I want a cut of this.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, enough of my awful dating life that I've been through. Give me what's in your future, and also if you want to shout out your IG handles.
Yeah, IG handles are Jason_TARTICK. Podcast is doing great, so continuing with that. Agency's fun too. Still working on that. And
TikTok.
then, TikTok's Jason_TARTICK. As far as the future, there's some cool business things we're working on. A couple companies we're talking about launching.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out.
Well, we'll stay tuned.
Yeah,
and guys,
stay
make sure to
tuned.
stay tuned with Jason. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I
Killed
appreciate it.
Woo!
Woo, let's go.
And
that's
that's
a
a
wrap.
cut.